Using the mystical techniques of Kabbalah, Hermeticism, and Raja Yoga, as previously described, I would periodically take my astral journeys into the heart of the inner sun, our holy guardian angel. This process involved an ascent of the soul from the bounds of earth into the refulgent intelligence of our cosmic source. These are three of my paintings which suggest the progressive stages in the astral journey. Starting on the left material pillar, the female figure, who represents one's divine heart and soul, reaches for her astral cynosure, symbolized by the stained glass rose window. The sea in which she swims represents that watery miasma of the human subconscious, and the Kabbalistic Sephira, Yesod, which must be traversed before higher ascension may be achieved. The rose window symbolizes that ceaseless yet singular point which one fixes upon in the practice of yoga dharana. It suggests that proportional quasi-geometrical harmony of the unseen spiritual world which underlies our physical existence. The rose window is an aesthetic extension of the ceaseless sun above, that sun which provides the moon with its light, and serves as the perfect source of balance and boundless illumination. In the middle painting, as mental fixation is achieved, the soul, or divine feminine principle, is shown releasing from the human body and the earthly world, to ascend out the top of our head toward the spiritual sun. Finally, the soul travels beyond the bounds of earth, arising to the celestial expanse of our solar logos, to enter the realm of eternal imagination and pure idea. This experience of celestial travel is of a magnitude and complexity beyond the bounds of words to describe, and thus explains my use of rather abstract language in this presentation. I made reference to such otherworldly experiences in the earlier description of my first Kundalini encounter, particularly during my descent from the cosmic heights. There it was stressed that arts such as painting and poetry provide some of the best means of describing these experiences. In that respect, I unexpectedly found a suggestive visual depiction of my mystic ascent in the form of a movie episode. Science fiction, like myth and religious scripture, may provide valuable analogs for the transformative mystical process and of the worlds beyond, for they all draw from the deeper well of the collective unconscious and what William Blake termed our divine imagination, which is the essence of the solar Christos and the realm of our inner sun. The movie 2001: A Space Odyssey, like The Wizard of Oz and Alice in Wonderland, provides an imaginative metaphor for the mystical journey. The scenes you see before you from 2001, of vast bodiless acceleration, of myriad lights and otherworldly vistas, and the penetration of a singular eye of inner vision into the heart of all birth, death, and eternal rebirth. All these may be experienced in a singular moment of inestimable time as one journeys from this earthly life to a world beyond the stars. That great master of eternal imagination and the inner worlds, Dante Alighieri, provides another striking description of the mystical journey, as the epic poet speaks in the spiritual language of greater absolutes and visionary vistas. In this passage from Paradiso, Dante's words echo my own experiences in the realm of astral projection and during the nurture of celestial embrace. For the ideational realm is an expansive place beyond the capacity of the human mind to fully fathom, as it touches an aspect of infinitude at its very source. As Dante explains his journey to paradise, never on earth where one goes up and down by natural laws, was motion of such speed with which I took my upward flight. Even thus my mind, so suddenly enlarged amid those heavenly vistas, burst its bond. The illustration before you by the 19th century artist Gustave Doré provides a depiction of Dante's vision. In this artwork, we are reminded of the mystical astral vortices, as previously discussed, as well as the tunnel portal that has been reported by many individuals who have undergone medical near-death experiences. After my vast ascent through the ethers, I reached our final destination. Here was I reunited with my greater soul, experienced as collective mind and universal spirit. Be it assigned the name Atman, Oversoul, or Holy Guardian Angel, I was absorbed into its heart of celestial completion. There was a merger of individual soul into collective cosmic soul. Again, we recall the words of Teresa of Avila, who described this mystical marriage as resembling a streamlet flowing into the ocean, which cannot afterwards be disunited from it. Yet my absorption in this instance was not into an ocean of liquid light, but into a boundless sea of crystallinity. I merged into a vast crystal essence, its subtle body expressed as ever-shifting facets of myriad intelligence, where a multitude of human lifetimes touched and merged, encompassing an ocean of ceaseless human dreams. I was part of a larger consciousness that had access to vast amounts of human experience and timeless wisdom. I saw a linkage of numerous lifetimes, each personality projected from the center and expressed as one facet of its crystalline exterior. A unifying consciousness resided at the center of this crystal, like a living, all-knowing light. Every slightest thought of this supernal essence was expressed as a different form or pattern of its crystallinity. This was its abstract language, a language that I somehow shared in and understood. My merger revealed the vast complexities of each human life as connected to greater macrocosmic cycles and complex equations of universal evolution. It is here that I experienced the principle of reincarnation, not as a simple linear progression of different lifetimes, bound by earthly measurements, as in the belief that one must wait a certain amount of years before one's next incarnation. It is neither so linear nor literal. There is instead a complex sharing of different lifetimes and human attributes, all connected to an immense, more cosmic intelligence. For the very nature of this ideational realm and its noetic presence is of supratemporality, overlapping dimensionalities, and macrocosmic complexity. When in the heart of this collective intelligence, our vast solar soul, one is wed to the paradoxical this as that of first creation. There is a simultaneous merger with the collective consciousness of higher soul, as well as access to my human persona, where all the thoughts and experiences of a lifetime may be recalled in an instant. As much as I might like to define myself as the direct reincarnation of the mystics William Blake or Jacob Boehme, since so much of my perception, so many of my inner experiences echo their own, I simply did not experience extended lifetimes in this way. There can indeed exist a subtle sharing of monadic commonality between different human consciousness, just as there is contraction and projection from a single colligating source. In this way may reincarnation be understood as a process of noetic projection and cosmic reassimilation, with a similar resonance from a common origin. As is clear from my verbal descriptions and my preceding paintings, this supersentient state of our inner sun, like so many mystical realities, defies simple explanation. Abstract metaphors and poetic allusions must thus be used to describe such multidimensional states. For here at work are the principles of relativity and simultaneity, akin to those concepts found in quantum or particle physics, where depending upon subjective perspective, the same thing can be expressed as either movement or particle, wave or mass, singularity or multiplicity, or in this case, universal collective thoughts or human personality. Of course, a strict materialist would dismiss all such mystical experiences as imaginary projections. And in objectively assessing my own inner experience, I can see how this could be possible, that while drawing upon universal archetypes, all my experience simply occurred in the lobes of my cerebrum. But like the idealist Plato, Berma, and so many other mystics who have entered this vast subtle realm, that which is governed and gained during such moments provides a transformative knowing and revelatory power that transcends simple reason, and is at the deepest level undeniable, as all is unified into a singular and timeless whole. This painting was executed at the time of my initial encounters with the noetic oversoul and inner sun. The work suggests something of the crystalline, multidimensional nature of this presence. An attempt was here made to express the emanational vectors of its life-giving energy and its outward projections of formative thought as human lifetimes, as well as suggesting the textures found in subatomic particles of photonic light. While the term spheros or unid is not nearly as poetic or evocative as the name of Holy Guardian Angel, it is the formal title that I assign to this our ultimate soul nature. This name of unid is the designation I assigned in my symbolic cosmological model, the grand schema of evolutionary metaphysics, where I describe all creation in terms of a universal five-fold logoic order. Shortly after executing the prior painting, I created this rendition of the Archangel Gabriel. Gabriel is that collective intelligence which has been associated in Christianity with the Annunciation of the birth of Jesus to Mother Mary, as well as with the ascent of the Prophet Muhammad into the heavens. In extension, this painting reflects my own inner experience with the essence of this archetypal noetic force. It was only years after completing the previous two paintings that I resumed my depictions of the crystalline astral realm. These paintings here refer to my interpretation of three hierarchical levels found in the Kabbalistic sphere of Tifereth, home of our solar logos. It represents the progression from the more fluid lower realms of the Sephira Yesod, which is associated with the qualities of the moon and its watery amorphousness. Of course, there are countless conceptual levels to each of these archetypal Sephiroth spheres, and here I simply use the device of 3 octaves to signify the ascendant differences. In terms of color symbolism and correspondences to the pillars on the Tree of Life, the left brownish painting reflects the material nature of the earth, and thus the feminine and receptive pillar of the tree. The center painting is rendered in the harmonizing aerial colors of the sky and the middle harmonizing pillar. The right-hand painting suggests the fiery gold and red qualities of the ascendant sun. After experiencing the wonders of the crystalline realm of the inner sun, I came to recognize in various religious images and mystical models the same recurrent motif, rendered through a variety of paradigms and metaphors. One of the most striking interpretations of this realm is that great vision found in John's biblical revelation. Upon reading his descriptions, I instantly recognized the deeper qualities of my solar journey. In his words, I recognized essential attributes of my own inner experience. However, in his case, expressed in the language of otherworldly landscapes and celestial cities. He describes his entrance into this divine world as a door standing open in heaven, reminding one of that astral portal which other mystics have described. He then speaks of that celestial vision which he is now able to see via his spiritual form. At once I was in the spirit, and there before me was a throne in heaven, with someone sitting on it. And the one who sat there had the appearance of jasper and ruby. A rainbow that shone like an emerald encircled the throne. And I saw what looked like a sea of glass glowing with fire. Also in front of the throne, there was what looked like a sea of glass, clear as crystal. Many are the crystalline allusions, from ruby to emerald to jasper. The Great Spirit on the throne, variously identified as either the Trinitarian God or the Celestial Christ, is itself made of crystal, as is the rainbow that circles the throne. Later in Revelation, John describes the divine city of New Jerusalem as paradoxically made of pure gold, like clear glass, with its brilliance like a very costly stone, as a stone of crystal clear jasper. While John's celestial experience was described as a vision viewed from the outside looking in, just as depicted in these 14th century illuminations from the cloister's apocalypse, mine was experienced more as a complete assimilation into the interior, looking outward. And as John viewed the sea of glass from a distance, I was immersed in this crystalline ocean of celestial expanse. Participatory astral creation is the name I give to these noetic or astral experiences. For here there is a communing between changeless cosmic archetype and the individual's creative vision. This occurs due to the nature of human consciousness and the constitution of the higher astral worlds. When in this vast astral or mental realm, one experiences the cosmic archetypes in accordance with one's human predisposition or conditioning. Thus did the 13th century Catholic Dante Alighieri experience his journey in terms of anthropomorphic representations and underworldly journeys and Ptolemaic ascent. However, the author of Revelation in his visions experienced this inner solar world as an ideal crystalline sea and jewel-like city. Indeed, it is the nature of this plastic astral world that it is malleable. It provides a living canvas upon which the mind may project its own perceptual universe, akin to that creative process experienced in dreams, but in this case more willfully directed. Hermetic philosophers have designated this fluid astral underpinning as materia secunda, or secondary matter. Unlike the cosmic materia prima, that inviolate first matter found in the upper Kabbalistic sphere of Binah, which I commune with in my first great mystical marriage, this secondary matter absorbs the projections of mind and is thus shaped into the desired form of the perceiver. For in this sphere, idea dominates and dictates to form. However, underlying and determining it all are but a limited number of eternal ideas, which come to be expressed in a multitude of perceptual variations, some of which we will subsequently discuss. This is indeed the necessary role we all play in the universal performance of evolutionary life, providing the unchanging absolute of the Divine One with an infinite set of variations on a single fivefold theme. each of us drawing from and dancing with that changeless solar logos that gives all life form. Again, we find that the great mystic Teresa of Avila has provided insight into the nature of the celestial worlds beyond our own. She described our inner sun in these terms. We consider our soul to be like a castle made entirely out of diamond or of very clear crystal, in which there are many rooms, just as in heaven there are many dwelling places. Her quote thus suggests the multidimensional qualities as well as the crystalline essence of the greater soul sphere which I experienced. We also find echoes of John's revelation when she describes the soul as a most beautiful crystal globe, built entirely of gold and precious stones. It is just such a refulgent sphere which is depicted in my own painting of the solar angel Agniel. Like the Apostle John, the prophet Enoch described his own dissolution from physical body into an all-seeing spirit when he stated, "And I fell upon my face, and my whole body melted, and my spirit was transformed." He spoke of his body being translated, then ascending into the heavens. His description of the angelic and celestial worlds was also couched in quasi-crystalline terms. He thus stated, "And the angel Michael showed me all the secrets of the ends of heaven. And I saw there, in the middle of that light, something built of crystal stones, and in the middle of those stones, tongues of living fire." Before you are my paintings of the four archangels, each one associated with one of the elements. At the bottom left, Uriel and the element earth. Above that, Gabriel and water. Then Raphael with air, and in the upper right, Michael with fire. In Buddhist and Hindu schemes, the goal of spiritual ascent has often been equated with the top of a mountain. The sacred Mount Kailash in Tibet, which derives its name from the Sanskrit word meaning crystal, is a holy mountain of Hinduism and serves to represent Shiva's mystic power symbol of Om or Aum. The mountain's four faces are said to be made of crystal, ruby, gold, and lapis lazuli. Furthermore, it is the Buddhist diamond vehicle, as symbolized in the Vajra scepter, and much like the holy mountaintop, which lead one to the heights of mystic ascendancy. In Buddhism, the crystalline mountain peak may be equated with that highest chakra center of Sahasrara. Indeed, the goal of attainment for the Buddhist is to find the jewel known as Mani, or that perfect essence within our mind, which lies at the crown of our head, and which can unleash the forces of self-realization. This jewel provides the transformative key by which to unlock the mysteries of the soul. We also find the mystical crystal mountain in alchemical lore. This mountain symbolizes the ascendant peak that the spiritual aspirant must reach. For at the summit is the secret philosopher's stone, that crystalline and transformative receptacle of the wise. It should be noted that the final phase in the alchemical transmutation, following the blackening and whitening stages, is rubedo, or the reddening. It is this phase that allows one to ascend to the peak of spiritual realization, then extract from the heart of the sun its magical tincture, that legoic panacea which will allow one to transform and paint the world in the fiery colors of eternity. As stated in the alchemical text, Light of Lights, the earth of these mountains is very red and soft beyond all measure. It is full of crystalline rocks, which the philosophers call their glass and their stone. Here we see a number of variants on the same crystalline archetype. On the far left are those regular polyhedrons as described in Plato's Timaeus. which are said to be essential to universal creation. On the right is my depiction of the three phases of the crystalline alchemical transformation, as symbolized by the ascending black, white, and red roses. On the bottom we find the rose window, a kaleidoscopic sphere, and a Hindu yantra, or meditative pattern. I found that the kaleidoscope provides a striking analog for the mystical solar state and suggests the ineffable sense that I experienced when in mystical union. For it was as if I was one with the shifting kaleidoscopic pattern, with each transformation representing a new vast thought or conceptual matrix, where many seemingly divided ideas and human souls might be united in one greater universal destiny or pattern. Every slightest thought of this supernal essence with which I was merged was expressed as a different form or pattern of its crystallinity. With each turn of the cosmic kaleidoscope, with each new mandalic pattern revealed, there was suggested another monumental reality, and each symmetrical image would communicate a vast amalgam of thoughts and places, which stretched out to the ends of the universe. Clearly, as the preceding narrative has shown, those things which I and other mystics have attempted to describe transcend the smaller capacity of human language to express. In that classic of spiritual studies, The Varieties of Religious Experience, by the philosopher William James, 4 major qualities of the mystical experience are listed. They are ineffability, the noetic quality, passivity, and transience. The lesser quality of transience relates to the relatively fleeting duration of the mystical experience. But the deeper truth of the experience is that while only a few minutes of earthly time might elapse, the mystic may experience in an instant a seeming eternity of timeless duration. And for the other lesser quality, while James uses the descriptive word of passivity, I prefer the term receptivity. For while the body of the mystic may be quite still, his or her mind and soul may be active in a most profound sense. The greater mystical qualities of ineffability and noetic expansion have been repeatedly demonstrated in our mystical descriptions. The spiritual noetic, or mental understanding, that is gained in these states is often immeasurable, as Wisdom 1 may exceed all earthly bounds, for such is the nature of divine gnosis. As to ineffability, words will always fail us in relation to the eternal and the absolute. Teresa of Avila provides another of her incisive accounts of higher mystical states and the greater soul when she describes the nature of the soul as an inner spiritual castle. Thus she states, "As these mansions are nearer the king's dwelling, they are very beautiful, and so subtle are the things seen and heard in them that, as those tell us who have tried to do so, the mind cannot give a lucid idea of them to those inexperienced in the matter." Or as the Renaissance Hermetic philosopher Pico della Mirandola advised when describing the ineffable qualities of the higher worlds, divine things must be conceived under enigmatic veils and poetic dissimulation.